Okay, let's do another one. Let's do some owls. Um, the Browns have had some owls in their yard this year. And then we've got our owl box, and we have not seen an owl lately, but we did see them earlier in the spring. The Browns owl was a baby owl. It was so exciting. It was a great big owl, really fluffy and really fun. Grandpa went over early in the morning to see it one morning. But let's paint some owls. So here's some owls that I have have made cards that I've made into cards. And here's an owl. I think you can see it. Let's just scoot you this way. Okay, I think, yep, I think you can see it on the iPad. And I don't want this to be a long video, so I'm really going to go quick. I drew this one, and then I looked over at this one, and I decided, oh man, his body is not as big as it should be. Because you look here, and his head, and then another head, and another head size. So his body should be twice as big as his head. So I'm just going to quickly kind of draw him again. And we can do that quick, and then let's paint him. The interesting thing about him is his eyes are not as round as I've made those. His eyes are also orange, and that's kind of quite interesting. So it was kind of a round shape. Now I've given him two little ears. I'm kind of going to bring a little out here because after the round shape, his head's a little more flat than that. There we go. There's a little bit of interesting pattern there. And his head has, so that's kind of the end of his head there. And now we're going to do his body, which doesn't really come out. It's kind of long. It doesn't really come out too much more than his little head. Now their feet are crazy. I would not want to be attacked by an owl because they have got wicked talons. They're enormous. Look at those. Okay, so his feathers or wings are very long too. I can see his wings here. Okay, there's a little dark part where his body is, and let's put him on a branch. Let's get him those talons wrapped around something there. The branch. Okay, and I'm seeing I want his nose to come down, just his beak to come down just a tad there. Let's give just a little bit of some of his feather patterns. He's kind of got these darker feathers mixed in with his lighter feather. His body's kind of quite light there. So, okay, so let's go and just really quickly get some color on these, and it'll really help to make them alive. We're not going to put color on the whole owl. Let's just bring in some color to represent where the owl is. He's really quite a light color, so what are we going to do for that light? Let's kind of go super light here. It's got just a little bit of around his face. Let's give him his lovely beak. Is that what they are? I want to say beak. I'm not sure. It's kind of a curved little deal. Let's add some color to his eyes at the same time. We can add a little, using the same color we've got on there. We can put some of the dark feathers in. He's kind of got those up here. There's also a little bit of light brown. him light brown up here. Let's see. I'm gonna try to bring, there we go, get a little of that back up because that's, we really didn't want him as dark. Too dark. What we really want to bring in are, man, these red, oh, look at that water. I was just gonna paint his eye orange and there was so much water it started flooding around. Let's see what we can do again here. His cheek is kind of wet. Got some color on my hand here. Let's see if the orange floods into his cheek again. Well, it's doing it a little bit, but look at those orange eyes, man. Right above his eye here, I see some dark, and then out on his ear, a little dark. I'm going to see what I can do with a really little brush and see if I can get some dark around his eyes. There. A little bit more. His eyes are just so I'm looking at him and I think he's a little cross-eyed. He looks like his eyes might be a little too close together. Let's give this guy up here some orange eyes. And it's the orange that's around the black. Now if I start painting two of them, it's going to take too long. So I got to stop here on this guy because it just is going to take us too long. But I do like his eyes. They're a little further apart. This guy's are a little closer, but every owl is probably a little different. And so what's to say that this owl didn't just end up with a little eyes that are just a little closer together? I think that could be the case here. And we just want to put in just enough lines to give the idea of him. We do not want to overwork him or put in lines, more lines than we need to create his appearance. I do want to differentiate his wing from his body. So there's just a little darker here, so we can see that, and under here for his wing there. There's also on the top here so much as the feathers bring on their way on down here. It's actually kind of got a little bit of a pattern going on his wings as far as the color. Let's see if I can't distinguish that just a little bit. So we've got a little bit of a pattern going. That's not really happening here. And I did not look it up to see what kind of owl this is, because this, I'm just not even sure what kind of owl this is. That's good. I think if we darkened his eyes where his eyeballs are, he won't look quite so spooky. It's kind of looking spooky to me. There we go. See, that's bringing him a little bit more to life there. So looking at this one, and the thing I notice the most are his eyes, the ears, and his wings. This wing is more than the other, but I'm not really liking how that's turning out. The other thing I'm noticing is there's kind of a roundness around his face that I don't quite have right here. And I'm thinking, oh, it's too wet. That's not going to work yet. Let's go ahead and bring in a little bit of color for the branch and help that to stand out. I didn't want this to be very long, and it's very hard to finish something in a shorter video, but let's just see. We might have to come back in on this one because he's just not really. Let's dry him for a minute and see what we can do here. iPad's kind of safe. Here he is. There we go. That's kind of helping his wing just a little bit there. And so maybe let's kind of do a similar thing over here where we can just see a little bit of the different, parts of the wing. And I think we actually should bring it down just a tad. The other things that I'm seeing is I don't see a real definition around the bottom of his face here. So let's do something that we can kind of notice that just a little bit more. Maybe the same as on top of his eyes. Okay, and I'm not seeing the definition on his legs so much either, but he's coming along. He's coming along. Okay, we don't want it to be too long, so I'm going to kind of almost finish up here. I think if I just played around a little bit more with my pen, I might be just a little bit happier. I think that might be bringing his face down just a little bit. It's too wet. It's too wet there to do anything right there. See, I'm just coming back and trying to okay, we're gonna call that good. Have fun. Have fun with, you might want to look at the owl just a little bit more. Let's just break it down just really quick here. So we've got a rounder head, and the body's going to have the eyes come in, kind of slanted here, his ears. They're not, yeah, they are his ears. They're pointed. I'm going to have his eyes come down here, his little beak. And it's a fierce beak, that's for sure. So anyway, you're going to have your owl like this. Your body's going to be about twice as big. So you've got the round head, and then you've got elongated. You're just going to have two claws, and there's your owl. Then you're going to do the details. So, okay, be sure to sign your work, guys, and have fun trying to paint an owl. Love ya. Send your owls to me. Thanks. Bye-bye.